Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. So guys, Merry Christmas. It is Christmas. It is Christmas. It's 12:07, which means technically it's officially Christmas. Let me make sure my device is right. Microphone is playing. The world is good. Good. I don't like when my volume drops. So in one of my other chats, somebody notified me that on this great Christmas, let's get Riker, that Julian Assange his website is down. So if I go to this is Julian Assange's Twitter page. Twitter has taken down Julian Assange's Twitter page. Twitter hasn't, as far as I've seen, given a statement on why they've taken down Julian Assange's Twitter page. But I think reasonable people can come to some reason as to why they do such a thing. This is immensely problematic. An organization, a corporation, has been given the keys of the kingdom with regards to us communicating with one another. Be it Facebook, be it Twitter, be it whatever, Google, whatever you want to call it. This digital space has become this ground to which human beings interact with one another. The communication itself at this point has been policed by corporations, money-grubbing corporations. In this particular case, they use the content that people put on their site to create their site, and using the content to create that site, they've gotten to the point of saying, hey, there's some content we want to hide from people. Has nothing to do with it being racist, has nothing to do with being hurtful or vengeful or indecent or anything else. The person is putting out true and factual information about the events that are taking place across the world and across the planet. Governments in these countries hate the fact that he's putting out true information that's hurting them in their political, in their political apparatus. The Trans-Pacific Partnership was put out by WikiLeaks. That partnership was essentially going to sell United States sovereignty down the fucking river, giving it over to corporations for them to make decisions on laws that they themselves can break or go past. If something adversely affects their profits, they'll be able to sue the United States government. They'll be able to milk this country, gutting any notion of sovereignty. That's what Obama was willing to do. That's what the lefty, supposedly lefty, faux left, was going to do. WikiLeaks published that document. The Prime Minister in New Zealand, I believe it was New Zealand, made the point that the information wasn't supposed to be made public for 4 years after that thing was published. That was WikiLeaks. That was WikiLeaks. All of this information that gets published and it gets put out, these governments are doing things that these governments have no business doing. And they want to keep that stuff from the civilian population. This Russian nonsense that they've yet to prove anything for have given them a certain pretext to go after these companies, these organizations, bringing Facebook and Twitter to browbeat these guys for Russian ads. For Russian ads. Because the $1 billion, the $5 billion in total that they spent on that last election was somehow undercut and overcome by $100,000 in Facebook ads. I don't understand the justification for eliminating his Twitter account. And if Twitter is this is not even shadow banning. This is just fucking overt. How do you take down somebody's account? What has that particular person done for you to warrant taking down that account? And has Twitter gotten to the point of just being an arbitrary guide? In which case it says, all right, we don't like this guy. They're putting pressure on us for this particular thing. And no, this guy's not lying. He's not putting out anything false. But we just don't like the information that he's putting out. It's fucking insanity. Taking down the guy's account. Julian Assange has been a fucking hero. He's been held up in that goddamn embassy for 7 years over something, some trumped-up charge that he didn't do. The governments of the world hate the guy. They hate the guy. They want to get the guy because they don't like what he's saying. And ultimately what he's saying is, you people are fucking liars. Here's the information available to show that you guys are fucking liars. Hillary Clinton hates the guy. Somebody else talking about drone striking the guy. And ultimately terrified of being extradited to the United States because of how horrible and harsh our gulag is. It's fucking amazing. Twitter should be fucking ashamed of itself. You pathetic company. If you're that weak of a company with these corporate raiders. From what I understood a few years ago, people were wondering how Twitter was even going to stay in business. And now they've gotten to this point. And it's not that I dislike Twitter. I dislike the arbitrariness of it. I dislike this thing of we're going to shadow ban people when we don't like their political message. Essentially, Twitter and Google taking a political position in something that's supposed to be this corporate entity. If I don't like what you're saying, we're going to hide this particular content because we don't like you to hear about this particular thing. No, they're not lying. No, they're not being racist. No, they're not being hateful. No, they're not saying anything against political religion or any other demographic or anything vulgar. They're just saying something that's true. And we don't like that. How pathetic. How pathetic. You've become a tool of the establishment at this point. Shadow banning and keeping information away from people purely because of political ends. Political ends. That's fucking amazing. I'm waiting for Twitter to give some kind of response to why they would shut down Julian Assange's account and what would be the justification. I suspect it's going to be a dumbass political reason that they come up with and conjure up with to get across some kind of arbitrary thing that they wanted to do to his particular account. I'm waiting for that comment. I heard somebody say something about him being in the Ecuadorian embassy and commenting on what's going on in Spain. I don't know if that's true, so that's just speculation. But ultimately what I do know is when I go to Julian Assange's page, there is no page to go to. So I am going to leave it at that. This is just kind of a heads up news report. I am going to keep looking into this because I want to know what's going on. But there is no reason to take down his account. No good reason. So this censorship thing, this Russian mania thing that Democrats have conjured up, at this point, it's claimed Twitter. It's claimed Twitter. And it's not really Twitter. It's more so it's claimed us. That information, that true factual information that Julian Assange was putting out was aimed at the American public. Not just us. All around the world. The entire public of the world. At this point, you have a world audience when you're looking at the internet. And we should respond as if we have a world audience. This is not just one single individual nation. This is all of us. The information that he's putting out pertains to all of us. Do you believe that the things that the United States does is purely only active in the United States? Any information that Julian Assange puts out that's indicative of the United States to some degree also affects, whether you're talking about Australia, whether you're talking about Britain, whether you're talking about Europe, whether you're talking about all those countries. There's an interconnectedness among us. We need to start looking at this stuff from the standpoint of human beings interconnected around an entire world. Get someone united. Julian Assange, the information that he puts out doesn't just touch one particular nation. To some degree, it touches all of us. And the last thing that should happen is a Twitter account gets banned. And that is a bitch move to do something like that. So I will leave it at that. I'll keep looking at this. Hopefully it will be back up soon. They did the same thing to Caitlin Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. They gut her account. Or maybe I think it was her Facebook account. Same thing with Sane. They gutted her account for something. I think this was Facebook. If free speech is that problematic, I mean, come on. And I think the question we need to ask is, how do you make Twitter hurt for doing this? How do you make it hurt? Otherwise, you have no club and they can do whatever the hell Twitter wants. How do you make it hurt? That's the question. I'll leave it at that. Merry Christmas, guys.